I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody, since my previous two attempts at running Windows 11 on low-end stuff did not work out, the two previous videos were featuring the Internet Explorer PC, first with a Socket AM2 motherboard, and then later with the Socket 939 motherboard, with pretty high-end CPUs. Both times, of course, Windows 11 did not want to work on that hardware. So I decided, you know what, since it will likely work on Socket AM2, let's throw together a really just low-end, I guess you can call trash AM2 setup. We have an AMD Sempron 3600 plus CPU. Probably not the absolute worst Sempron you could run on this platform. I think I do have some kicking around that have just 128 kilobytes of level 2 cache. This one has 256. We'll get a look at CPU Z in here in a second. I got a fresh install Windows 10 on here right now. Actually, it's 1709. It's what I had on a DVD. This thing takes a while to boot off of a USB stick, so I just used what I had to get Windows 10 on there just to check through a few things. We got an OEM Machines motherboard in there. It's not the original one to this case. It's one I just happen to have. I had recapped a while back. And again, got that Sempron 3600 plus CPU on there. I got 2 gigabytes of DDR2 800. I've got, of course, onboard graphics. No, not iGPU, not like what you have in modern APUs. We have integrated motherboard graphics on this setup. It's the GeForce 6100 graphics chipset with, I think it's the Enforce 405 Southbridge. We got a 250 gigabyte Seagate hard drive in there, DB ROM drive, CD burner, the original optical drive to this eMachine case. Got the eMachine's card reader in there. Got a rebuilt power supply in here. No, that label is not accurate. That's not the. I reused this case to house a different power supply PCB. It was a cheap end unit I beefed up, and seems to be pretty along just fine on Windows 10. Of course, it is slow. It is very slow. So I think it's going to be safe to say that it's going to be very slow with Windows 11. Let's have a look here. So here's CPU Z. Again, it's a Sempron 3600 plus Manila Core CPU, Socket AM2. It's a 2 GHz CPU, multiplier 10, 200 MHz bus, hyper transport of just 800 MHz. Keep in mind the Socket AM2 Athlon CPUs, Athlon 64 CPUs of this era, had a 1 GHz HT link, and of course that 256K of L2 cache. That's going to we're definitely going to notice that in this video. So I'm going to put the side panel back on the system, and we're going to go ahead and do an upgrade, fresh install to Windows 11. And what I mean by that is I'm going to actually start the installation from within Windows, but we're going to do a keep nothing installation. And of course, our USB stick here is set up to ignore all the different checks. And I should mention, let's go to graphics here. I should mention that the driver for the graphics is one I happen to have. I had to install it manually because I think it's like a patch driver for Windows 10. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work for Windows 11. Let's go to memory. So I'm not sure if I don't think this motherboard's actually even running this RAM at full potential. I mean, it should be running at, I think, 800 MHz here. It's been so long since I've really dealt with freaking DDR2. But yeah, 2 gigabytes of memory, running at dual channel. Motherboard has just 2 slots, and pretty much all I have for DDR2 maximum is 1 GB modules. So, okay, no, we're running it at full. It's just, of course, it shows up as half in this. Manufactured 22nd week of 2008. I do have, I think, matched modules in here. Yeah, 23rd week of 2008. So they are, let's see, they are indeed matched. So, anyways, enough of holding you up. Let's go ahead and pop in the USB stick, and we're going to do a clean install of Windows 11. Again, we're going to start it from within Windows 10. Okay, let's do this. And while that's loading, let's have a quick look here at Task Manager. Once it comes up. Yeah, guys, it even takes a good little moment to get Task Manager pulled up on this thing. And of course that CPU just pegged down 100%. Oh yeah. We'll have it do not right now. See if we can run into any issues here. Accept the license terms. I'm going to change this to nothing. Okay, let's go ahead and click install and let it do its thing. So this will probably take a good while to install, so we'll come back when it's to the out-of-box experience. Okay everybody, so now we're sitting at the out-of-box experience screen. More or less the Windows welcome, or the, if you want to call it Windows setup. So we'll go ahead and run through this and see how long it takes. Oh, look at here, something went wrong. This reminds me of something Windows 10 would do on low-end stuff. Look here, I love the spilt ice cream. That's funny. That's really funny. Disconnect that Ethernet cable. Okay, put my name in there. We've effectively bypassed the nagging to connect to the internet, because it was briefly connected there for a second. And finally we have the desktop. It's still loading, but finally we got something. Yeah, this is like watching paint dry in a way. It's very, very similar to doing Windows 11 on that netbook with the Intel Atom N450 CPU. Okay, everybody, so giving this thing some time to finish installing the drivers and all that good stuff. So now I'm going to start it up, and let's go ahead and take a little tour of Windows 11 running on this old Socket AM2 Sempron setup. Okay, so we are into the desktop. We're still waiting on the taskbar to load, and I can say that I think some of the lag here has to do with the hard drive, because the hard drive activity indicator is wide open, or it was. Now we got our taskbar. You can still see things are loading. Got our start menu there. And of course all the preloaded bloat that they install once you connect to the internet. I mean, things like Facebook, Instagram. Of course you got Adobe Express, which is probably a trialware. You got Office, which is a trialware. I mean, there's just so many things in there. Like Xbox. Not everybody uses Xbox. It's just, yeah. I used to criticize the OEMs for preloading a bunch of bloat, but now it seems like Microsoft does it themselves ever since Windows 8. But one thing I had to do right away was I did have to, of course, manually install that patch driver for the graphics. For example, I'll go ahead and load up CPU-Z. I gotta go fetch it in my files. But yeah, this thing was definitely at a crawl there for a while. Yeah, for sure. Things got better once I got the graphics driver installed. One thing I did have to do, however, was I had to go into settings, and I'll show you. For example, I had to go into settings and go to the personalization, and I had to turn transparency off because it simply was not working right with this graphics driver. If we go to, I think it's under personalization, maybe under colors, if I remember right. Yeah, there we are, transparency effects. If I turn it on, watch what happens to the taskbar. Like, for example, The taskbar is completely black. Everything that's transparent is just completely black. Like, for example, menus and things like that. Everything's just black. So, had to turn transparency off. And now at least things like the menus, all that good stuff, pop up properly. You can actually read what's there. Change this to dark. See how dark mode looks. Yeah, that's much better. I always prefer dark mode anyway. So if we go to System and go to About, we can see our specs. So we're running a Sempron CPU, 3600 plus, 2 GHz, just 2 gigs of RAM, and of course 64-bit OS. Windows 11 Pro 21H2. And of course here's CPU Z. And of course I showed you this earlier. There's our graphics again. So I gotta go fetch and install the PC Health thing from Microsoft, because I want to show you. I want to do the hardware test. Yeah, PC Health Check, I think is what it's called. Let's go ahead and run that. Show you all the red X's that'll show up in the compatibility check. It'll say your PC does not meet the requirements to run Windows 11, but yet it's running Windows 11. Yeah, this little app here was intended to be installed on Windows 10, I do believe. I think it's safe to say that even on a system of this vintage, a solid state drive would definitely help a little bit, because the hard drive is just racing. Now part of that is because we only have 2 gigabytes of RAM in this thing. The minimum requirement for Windows 11 is 4 gigabytes. And when you run a 64-bit OS on 2 gigs of RAM, it's just going to be kind of rough. It always has. Even back to Windows Vista. Which is the reason why a lot of Vista computers out there were notorious for being slow, even though they had quote-unquote decent specs for the time. Let's go ahead and run it. So just to give you guys a little update on my plans for some future videos, I'm planning on digging out one of the old TV Box Slim computers that hasn't been run in a while, and we'll actually test run Windows 11 on that. And it has a 64 gigabyte solid state drive and an AMD E-Series E300 APU. And I think 4 gigs of RAM. So it'll be another pretty low-end spec computer to run Windows 11 on. Yeah, it's funny if we look here, introducing Windows 11. Let's go ahead and check Let's go and check and see if our computer running in Windows 11 can run Windows 11. The PC must support security boot. TPM 2.0 must be supported and enabled. The processor isn't currently supported. There must be at least 4 GB of system RAM. The processor needs to have 2 or more cores. Look at all of the... There's actually 0... hang on. Let's see our results. But there's a lot of caution signs and red X's. Let's see if we have... We should have at least 1 or 2 check marks. Oh, we got 1. Oh yeah, the system disk is at least 64 gigabytes. So yeah, at least we did meet one of the Microsoft Elite class requirements. So this computer that supposedly that does not meet the system requirements for Windows 11 is, well, running Windows 11. Ain't that crazy? So I'm not going to do too much here because, I mean, this thing is pretty painfully slow. It would probably run a bit faster if I actually swapped out the processor for a dual-core Socket AM2. But, you know, all this stuff. Let's, for example, look at new paint. In a way, I feel like Windows 11, you're just losing some features, really, to be honest. Like, when you have to install third-party add-ons to get a full right-click menu back on your taskbar, to bring everything back to the left, to give you the classic Windows 7 style start menu. Oh yeah, and also to give you more options in Windows Explorer in general. It's just like, come on. There's Paint, which is a pretty basic end utility. I'm going to say the Windows 11 start menu, it's alright. I think it's a little bit better than the Windows 10 menu in a way, but I still believe that I still do believe the Windows 7 style menu is better. Yeah, look at all this Microsoft stuff they got on here. Of course, they got a ton of it. Here's the Solitaire collection. Let's just launch that for a second. Now, of course, if you're interested in the Windows 7 style games, you can actually install those on Windows 11 or Windows 10 or Windows 8. We're getting these little hints. Reminds me of Windows 8.1, where it would just randomly show you suggestions whenever you least expect them. I'm gonna hit cancel on that. I don't want to update right now. But yeah, you got your Spider, Klondike, Free Cell, all that stuff. I never really even use this. But yeah, this is yet another example of Windows 11 running on stuff that is way before its Elite class requirements. Although I can say that when you have a computer that does meet those high-tier Elite class requirements, Windows 11 will run beautifully on that, but I'll be honest with you, Windows 11 will run great on a lot of different stuff too. So, and of course, I should mention before I actually finish up here, that's the control panel for the graphics, but let's go back into settings. And I'll show you in Windows Update. Windows Update appears to be working just fine. There was this big sort of controversy or question over whether computers that don't meet the Microsoft Elite class requirements for Windows 11 will get updates. Apparently they will, but The thing is, though, when you run feature updates, that might be a problem you'll run into, which I have, of course, my AMD A6 6420K test rig down here with Windows 11 on it, and once the new Windows 11 build is out and being sent out to Windows Update, I'll definitely have to give it a shot and see what happens. See if we get any errors about the computer that's running Windows 11 not meeting the requirements from Windows 11 and refusing to download the next feature update. So, I mean, if that happens to be the case, I mean, you can still work around it by downloading the ISO for the next feature build and using Rufus to write your flash drive to bypass the TPM checks and all that good stuff. Not that I exactly recommend it, but I mean, we're seeing time and time again that Windows 11 will indeed run, and in some cases run really well on computers and hardware that don't meet the elite class requirements for Windows 11. So this thing is running Windows Update in the background while we're doing all this stuff, and of course that's basically it having to do more stuff. And tell you what, guys, I can't stand having to do Control-Delete just to get Task Manager now. I think in all previous Windows editions, probably back to 9X, you could just right-click on the taskbar and get an option for Task Manager. I think it was available in XP and Windows 2000, but yeah, at least in modern version of Windows up until Windows 11, you could just right-click the taskbar and you would have options for Task Manager and all that good stuff. And when you install the third-party add-on, Start All Back, you get that kind of stuff back. But again, you're having to install a third-party utility that actually costs $5. It's not free. It costs $5, and you're having to install that to get Windows 11 running more like Windows 10. Probably the biggest thing Windows 11 has going for it, in my opinion, is the eye candy, as well as some fine tweaks down in the OS. I mean, I can't say the mid-tower Lux, my system ran it perfectly, but I didn't stick with Windows 11 because of a couple of reasons. So yeah, we're going in here to performance, and you can see there's our CPU usage. So that's Windows 11 running on pretty old stuff. Probably the lowest end hardware you can run with an AMD setup. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Well, everybody, that wraps it up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and be sure to tick that bell so you'll get notified when new videos are posted. Also, don't forget, I have a whole lot of other interesting videos here on the channel to check out. And also, in addition, I have a second channel, CubeComp MTDX, where I have all sorts of other videos not exactly related to technology. Links to the channels are available at the end of this video. Again, I thank you for your support, and thanks for watching this video.